Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast. Kids struggling, not feeling resilient, feeling like maths is the worst, or the piano is unfair, or that new thing that you want them to learn is too hard. Today, we're talking about resilience. We're talking about pushing through. We're talking about how to get kids gaining momentum, experiencing progress when they just want to quit, and they want to quit right now. It's a dummy spit. It's toys out of the cot. It's I'm taking my bat and ball. I'm going home. It's my maths teacher is dumb. They didn't teach me, and why do I have to learn this anyway? How do we deal with the I hate this, why do I have to do it, I can't do it response to children when they don't want to do stuff? That's what we're talking about today on the pod. Stay with us. Hi, welcome to the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every single day. This is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson. We're the parents of 6 children who have all been reluctant to do things at one time or another, and who have all quit things at one time or another because sometimes life feels hard. Today, we're talking about how to push them through. And Kylie, I'm going to start with some scientific stuff. So buckle in. Emotions exist on 2 dimensions. We've talked about this on the pod before. There's the energy dimension and there's the pleasantness dimension. So you can have a high energy, high pleasant emotion like
happiness, joy.
Right. And we can have a low pleasantness, high energy emotion like
anger.
Then we have our low energy, low pleasant emotions.
Like sadness.
Right. And then we've got our low energy, highly pleasant emotions.
Oh, calm.
Yeah,
peace.
Feeling blissed out. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? When the kids are sitting down to do something and they decide that it's tricky, and don't you just wish they'd say, you know what, this is tricky, and what a great opportunity for me to learn. What a great opportunity for me to develop.
Let's find some bliss.
I can feel progress on the horizon. Said no child ever. So you know it, and I know it. In fact, this has just happened for us in the last day or so. Emily hasn't wanted to do her lessons for homeschool. She's come out to the park just down the road from us and grabbed some big sticks, and then she got your craft knife, blunted it, trying to turn the sticks into spears, because living in the woods.
She'd rather do that for an hour and a half than sit down and do a couple of maths lessons.
Yeah, living in the woods would be so much easier. Catching turtles and rabbits would be so much easier than having to do maths. So here's the thing.
Don't need maths to catch a rabbit.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Typical response when a child feels like they can't do something or don't want to do something because they don't see the relevance in it.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
Yeah, so avoidance, right? And avoidance is reinforcing. It feels really pleasant. If you think about doing the task, that's unpleasant, but avoiding it, that's really nice. And that's what our kids do, and that's what Emily's been doing. She's been whittling this wood and blunting your knife for I don't know how long. She's made so much mess all over the area that I try to keep clean.
Yeah, but you're saying it like it's just our kids. We all do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like what do you do? What do you avoid?
I avoid avoidance.
Oh.
Yes, I avoid avoidance. I've just taken it down, but I had a big sign right above my laptop.
Why did you take it down?
Because I don't need it anymore, but it said do the work because I was avoiding the work. I had it up there when I was writing my book because I was just so done with writing the book. Anyway, so kids try to get out of the situation. They try to avoid the situation as much as they can. And here's the reframe. This is what today's podcast is really about. That unpleasant zone, that high energy, sometimes low energy, but generally it's a high energy, unpleasant zone, is not the enemy. When your child is saying, I can't do it, it's too hard, this is the worst, what's the point, there's no relevance, I don't see why I have to do this. When they're doing that, when they're trying to avoid it, and they're in that unpleasant energy zone, when the emotion is awful, that's actually not the enemy. That's where powerful, real learning gets to happen if we can reframe it. Now, please don't misunderstand me. You can learn when you're feeling pleasant. Learning doesn't have to be pain and suffering and misery and torture.
I hope not.
No, but you think about your biggest breakthroughs, your biggest learnings, your biggest insights. Most of them come through struggle.
Of course.
So the argument that I want to make today in the pod is, how do we help our children to recognize that when they're struggling with maths or piano or with science or with an English essay or with whatever it is that they're struggling with, that they are on the cusp of learning, and that learning is exciting if they can just figure out how to sit there and push through that unbearable unpleasantness. Because once they can make that shift, the unpleasantness stops being unpleasant.
Yeah, but I think motivation plays a really big part in that.
Okay, so let's talk about what motivates. 3 things. Number 1, good relationships. Number 2, choosing to do it. Number 3, feeling competent. So when a child's saying, I can't do it, number 1, the relationship's rupturing because they feel alone. Number 2, they feel incompetent and stupid. And number 3, they're doing something that they would probably not choose to do if they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Which makes for things to be really tricky. So one of my favorite stories that I have shared far too many times, but I'm going to share it again because the lesson in this is just so profound. As a cyclist, I've learned that you've got to love the hills because the hills make you strong. And as a student who failed school early in life and then went on to absolutely thrive at university later in life, that idea just resonates so strongly. You've got to love the hills because the hills make you strong.
So my question to you, though, is are we asking or expecting more of our children than is developmentally appropriate, considering your experience was it wasn't until you were an adult that you found your love for learning?
So 2 things. Number 1, schools beat love of learning out of kids, right? And I'm not beating up on teachers here, although some actually do this, and it's a problem. But many are really, really engaged, great teachers who are trying their hardest, and some kids are just like, meh. But if a student is at school and they don't feel a sense of closeness and relationship and belonging, if a student feels endlessly incompetent, and if a student's just going, what's the point? What's the purpose? I'm not choosing to be here at all. This makes no sense to me. Then no matter what the teacher does, this is going to be a really tough uphill battle. Students have got to see the purpose. It's got to be relevant. That matters more than anything. Otherwise, they're just not going to do it. And they've got to have the relationships and a desire to get better. So for me, I didn't have that until I was older, and that mattered. We can make schooling so that it does feel good, and therefore people don't have to go through what I went through to say this is worthwhile. But what I really want to emphasize is this learning zone, or this zone that we're in, this unpleasant zone. I want to call it a learning zone, because if we can call it a learning zone, what we're doing is we're reframing it for our kids. And what we're saying is, so this is the learning zone. So you don't have to have a dummy spit. You don't have to take your bat and ball and go home. This is a signal, this discomfort, this unpleasantness, this is a signal that growth is happening or that it's about to happen. And the longer your child can stay in the learning zone, the more they're going to learn. Simple case in point, learning to ride a bike. I mean, I know I talked about you've got to love the hills because the hills make you strong, but let's go back to when you were teaching your child to ride a bike. They're wobbly, they're getting frustrated, they fall off, maybe they even get a hurty knee and they bleed a little bit. That's all high energy and it's all highly unpleasant as well. But if you can get them to stay in that learning zone for long enough, they have that breakthrough. And now that you've taught them to ride a bike, they're flying down the street, they've got the wind in their hair. No, they don't. They're wearing a helmet, but they've got the wind going through their helmet. They've got a big smile on their face. And it's the same whether it's making friends or learning fractions or figuring out how to write an essay or tying shoelaces. These can all feel unpleasant. But by sitting in that learning zone for as long as possible, that's how we grow. So after the break, I want to talk about how we can help our kids to actually want to be in that learning zone so that they can stay there longer and learn more. Stay with us. We're back with the Happy Families podcast. How do we get kids to want to be in the learning zone? Kylie, I think we need to sit our children down, look at them in the eyes and say, as they're struggling with their English essay or as they're struggling with their home reader or whatever it is, dear child, there is no triumph without the trial.
I'll unleash you with her tomorrow.
I don't think it's going to work. Our job somehow is to have this conversation where we communicate with them that uncomfortable emotions are just a signal that they are in the learning zone. And ironically, that can simply be enough. That can be the prompt that they need so that they can steady their emotions and put their head down and stay in the learning zone long enough to actually learn the thing that they need to learn, which means that they don't feel unpleasant anymore. Like if I said to you, I know what you're going through is really hard, but by going through this hard thing, it's going to make you stronger. There's a chance. I don't know. I mean, you tell me.
It depends whether I want to be strong or
It depends
not.
on whether exactly. So you've been making a big deal on the pod lately that you're really enjoying PT. You're enjoying the experience of being in the gym and trying to lift heavy things and move your body in ways that you haven't moved it before. And when you feel disgruntled, when you feel like it's really hard and our trainer says to you, these next 3 reps are the ones that count the most, and you're sort of thinking, but I can't lift 1 more rep, and you're saying to do 3 more, you hear him say that, and what do? Yeah, sure, you groan and complain, but then you lift. And you stay in that zone. You stay in that zone of discomfort, that zone of unpleasantness, that zone of sweat and tears and frustration and pain, because you know that in 3 reps, you'll have done what you needed to do to get there. Somehow, we've got to teach our kids that exact same thing. It's great for us when we know that we're in the learning zone, something shifts. But here's the thing. When you just say you're feeling unpleasant, and that's normal that you're feeling unpleasant because you're learning something right now and it's hard. But once you've learned it, this won't feel unpleasant anymore. The game changes. And your kids can
but then
stay
there's
there.
something else that replaces it.
Yes.
Something else becomes hard instead.
That's life. But we don't tell the kids that. Otherwise, it sounds a bit nihilistic. I feel like we've gone all Nietzsche on. So the one thing that we've got to highlight here, Kylie, is this only works either morally or ethically or both when the struggle is worthwhile. And you kind of hinted at this in the first part of our conversation. Suffering through busy work because it's on the curriculum is just suffering.
Yeah.
But when the challenge matters, that's when the discomfort promotes progress. And again, I go back to this thing. You're in the gym or I'm on a bike going up a hill. If I'm choosing it, if I can see the purpose in it, then I'm going to be happy to be in the learning zone. So our job when
Case in point.
Yeah.
I couldn't skip last week.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. I wish that this was not a podcast. I wish we could play video right now. That this was not audio only, because watching and I'm publicly humiliating you. I'm aware of that, and I'm glad that you're laughing along with me. But watching you skip, everyone in the gym. There were only 3 or 4 of us, but everyone in the gym was just in stitches because you.
It was like I was like a marching soldier.
Yeah. It's like
I couldn't work out how to
do the hop before you jump onto the other foot.
It wasn't even the hop. Forget the hop. I had to get my opposite arm and leg to work at the same time. That was the first thing. So the only way I could do that was to do literally straight arm and leg, regimented soldier.
But in a skipping format without the hop.
It
was just so funny. So we were laughing our heads off. But after about a week of practicing, you finally figured out how to skip. And now you run up and down you skip up and down the corridor at home with a great big smile on your face because you can skip. But you had to go through this period of, it was more than a week actually, it was about 10 days where you literally couldn't skip and you were getting really frustrated and you were actually a little bit hurt when we laughed a little bit too hard one time.
Yeah, I was. I was. But I think the turning point for me with that, I was really embarrassed when I first tried to do it because in my head, I knew exactly what needed to happen. And clearly, as a child, I skipped lots, but I've lost that neural pathway of years and years of not using it. And so everybody was laughing and I felt really embarrassed to start with. And the turning point for me was realizing that it was actually quite really funny.
It was very funny.
And if I could just tap into that laughter thing and just enjoy the process and recognize that with a little bit more help and a little bit more technique, I can work this out. It's about getting curious, not furious. It's kind of the same thing, right?
With yourself, yeah. So here's the upshot because we need to wrap. If you've got a child who doesn't want to do stuff, number one, let's make sure it's relevant.
They can't skip and not smile.
Make sure it's relevant. Make sure that it's purposeful. If it's not, you're facing an uphill battle. That's the reality, okay? They've got to believe that it's relevant and purposeful. If you've got that, then it's a case of saying, well, if this matters, you're feeling uncomfortable because you can't do it right now. But the longer you can stay in this space of feeling uncomfortable and keep working at it, the sooner you'll get to the point where it is comfortable because you figured it out. And that tiny reframe that we've spent the last 12 or 13 minutes talking about, that tiny reframe changes the game. Purpose is everything, but once you've got purpose, you're willing to sit in the suffering. Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning said, "He who has a why can live with any how." In other words, you'll push through hard stuff if you've got a reason for it. That's the Happy Families podcast for today. We really hope this helps your kids to stay in the learning zone no matter how old they are and no matter what they're struggling with. Thanks so much for listening. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides admin and other support. And if you'd like more info to make your family happy, to help you to be happier, especially if you're raising an ADHD child. Check out our ADHD parenting course. It's online now. It's all at happyfamilies.com.au.